What if tonight, the world you know begins to fracture? Imagine the news alert on your phone. Not a distant skirmish, but a full-blown conflict. Missiles arching across a dark sky. Explosions illuminating a vital waterway. The world holds its breath. This is not some far-off drama confined to military bases and political chambers. This is a shockwave, and its epicenter is aimed directly at the global economic system. What if tonight, the unthinkable happens? Missiles are launched, oil routes are blocked, markets panic, and within hours the global economy begins to collapse. This is not fiction. This is a warning. Iran's power does not come solely from its military might. Its greatest strategic weapon is geography. The nation stands guard over the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow passage of water that is the planet's most critical oil artery. At its narrowest point, this strait is only 21 miles wide, a slender channel separating Iran from Oman. Yet, through this tiny gap flows a colossal amount of the world's energy supply. Roughly 1/5 of all the oil consumed globally, and about 1/3 of all seaborne oil journeys through these waters every single day. It is the jugular vein of the industrial world. A major war in the Middle East would not just disrupt one of these pillars, it would attack all of them at once. The first and most immediate casualty of a closed Strait of Hormuz would be the price of oil. The energy market operates on a delicate balance of supply and demand, but it is also driven by fear. The moment tankers stop moving, the price would not just rise, it would explode. A sudden removal of 20% of the world's supply is an unprecedented shock. Analysts predict prices could easily double or triple within days. $80 a barrel, $200 a barrel, $300 a barrel, or even higher. This price shock would be felt instantly at the gas pump. The cost to fill your tank would surge, burdening household budgets. For families living paycheck to paycheck, this is a catastrophe. It forces impossible choices: fuel to get to work, food for the table. Airlines would face soaring operational costs, widespread flight cancellations, potential bankruptcies, show currencies falling, anxious traders, emergency central bank meetings. War causes capital flight, rapid devaluation of currencies, and erosion of savings. Statistics and past crises echo through screens as currency charts plunge and people withdraw cash frantically. This is not just about numbers on a screen. This is about real wealth being destroyed. There would be a massive, chaotic rush into the US dollar, the Swiss franc, gold. While the value of these safe havens would spike, the currencies of smaller, more vulnerable nations would collapse. A country that relies on imported food and energy would see its currency become worthless, making it impossible to pay for essential imports. This is how a currency crisis is born, leading to hyperinflation and economic ruin for entire nations. The world's financial system would bifurcate into a few fortified strongholds and a vast sea of instability. It shatters the illusion of perpetual growth and stability. The surge in energy prices is only the beginning. It acts as a powerful accelerant for inflation, the silent thief that erodes the value of your money. When the cost of energy and transportation rises, the cost of every item that needs to be produced or moved rises with it. The price of your weekly groceries would climb as farmers pay more for fuel as fertilizer costs rise, and as distributors pay more to truck food to the store. The cost of a new television would increase because plastic components become more expensive and shipping it from Asia costs a fortune. Wages remain stagnant. That growing gap between what things cost and what you earn is the true measure of economic pain. Your purchasing power would shrink. Your savings would buy less. Beyond oil, the entire architecture of global trade is at risk. Our modern world is built on the container ship, the unsung hero of the globalized economy. These behemoths carry everything from iPhones, pharmaceuticals, car parts, clothing across the oceans. The system is designed for maximum efficiency, with complex supply chains stretching across continents. Many corporations operate on a just-in-time manufacturing model, keeping minimal inventory on hand and rely on a constant, predictable flow of parts arriving exactly when needed. A conflict that disrupts major shipping lanes, like the Strait of Hormuz or the Suez Canal, would shatter this delicate system. Insurance rates would become astronomical, but the physical risk would bring traffic to a standstill. The world's manufacturing engine would begin to sputter and seize as parts get stuck halfway around the world. Supermarkets and hospitals would face shortages. Car makers would halt production. The intricate web of global supply chains becomes a vector for transmitting the shock across the entire economy. Faced with such a grim cascade of events, the feeling of powerlessness can be overwhelming. But panic is a useless response. Preparation is not. The goal is not to build an underground bunker and wait for the end of the world. It is to take simple, logical steps to increase your family's resilience against a sudden economic shock. The first and most critical step is to have a reserve of physical cash. Visual emphasis. A simple wooden box with rolled-up cash, a few gold coins, and a first aid kit. In a crisis where banks close or digital payments fail, cash is king. Having enough on hand to cover essential expenses like food, water, fuel for several weeks is a fundamental layer of security. Second, you must think about the nature of your assets. In a world of raging inflation, money in a standard savings account is losing value every day. You need to hold a portion of your wealth in assets that can weather the storm. Diversify away from assets tied to a single currency or market. Physical gold and silver. Holding a small amount is financial insurance against a systemic collapse. Strong foreign currencies can also offer a degree of protection. Third, ruthlessly attack high-interest debt. Wars don't begin with explosions. They start silently. By the time the world reacts, it's too late. The next global economic collapse may not be a question of if, but when. It's a sound so constant we have forgotten it is there. But it is not guaranteed. It can stop. This warning is meant to put you in a state of readiness, not fear. Know the risks. Take small, prudent steps. Protect your family. When the unthinkable happens, the world will split, those who were prepared, and those swept away by the tide. The only question left is, will you be prepared or will you be destroyed?